Hi everybody, welcome to another Taubmans live colour event. My name's Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist and we're here tonight to talk all things colour. Look, it's great to be back after having a couple of weeks off and I can probably rest assured that my husband's probably happy to see me back at work. Like everybody out there, we've been embarking on a renovation project and I've been, some would say, or my husband might say, nagging. But I would say assisting with colour choices, etc, etc. So look, it's been fantastic, but it's also fantastic to be back. So as we always say throughout tonight's session, please feel free to upload any questions that you have on anything, whether it be interior, exterior, any project you're embarking on, or if you'd really like to know something about our fantastic product portfolio that we have, please use this as an opportunity to have a voice. So yeah, pop it in the feed. I will say though, as I have learnt, that if you do have photos that you're wanting to share with me, so that I can help you with colours, etc., please hold off until we finish the live feed. Once I finish streaming, then you can pop your photos in. So I'll be on camera for the next half an hour, and then I'll be off behind the scenes answering all of your questions. So please use this time and fire away all your questions. So tonight I thought, I'm going to talk a little bit about renovating, but painting is really the fastest, most cost-effective way to make immediate improvements within a space. And the big question we all face is around colour. And so these sessions that we have every week are designed to help you at home, and we're hoping that it instills some confidence. And you can go out there and you can be creative and know that what you're doing is right. So with many people renovating existing homes, and it seems to be a really big thing, and I know for myself that we're embarking on that as well. We have probably bought one of the worst houses in the best street, and we're doing some major renovations, and it's really exciting. But the thing that's come to mind is, should I use a different colour for different substrates, etc.? And for me at the moment, we have built a freestanding double garage. It's quite large, and then we've infilled the existing garage to turn that into a master bedroom and an ensuite and a walk-in robe, etc. And we're using a different substrate. So the house is brick. We've introduced some Sky-On linear weatherboards, and we've rendered the brick. And the thing is, what colour do you paint the weatherboards? How do you make the design cohesive, etc, etc. So tonight's session will be looking at should you paint the colour the same? How do you introduce a colour? How do we make it work? So that's what tonight's all about, because I understand, and from having been in store and talking to a lot of people out there who are embarking on renovating projects, and they're wanting to gain some assistance and an insight to, where is the best placement for the colour, etc, etc. So this is what tonight is all about. But please, as I've said, as we go along, upload your questions. So the perfect colour scheme lies around many things, and we've touched on these previously within the sessions. We've talked about the 60-30-10 rule, which is where you generally have 3 or 4 colours, and it's all about the balance of colour and the introduction, etc., to create that beautiful, well-balanced, harmonious space. So, and I always say when I'm talking about doing an exterior colour scheme, it's really important to take notice and to take in what's going on within the surrounds within your space. Are you bound by colour choices? Is there a covenant that lies within the estate, etc., that you live in? There's so many things that you need to understand. There's so many considerations. There's so many variables. It can be quite daunting. So, and obviously another really, really important thing is the style of your home. That's going to really allow for you to introduce colours, and whether you want to play with colours to make something a focal point, or whether you're wanting to tone down something. So this is what tonight's all about. So there's so much to consider where to start. So I've got some notes here, because after having a couple of weeks off, I'm feeling a little bit rusty. So I guess the first thing you need to consider is what is pre-existing. So what's going to be incorporated into the design, and something that you're not going to change. So if you've got particular coloured windows, or you have a particular coloured brick and you're not wanting to render the brick, etc., and the brick is going to stay as it is, how are we going to work that brick into your design? So, you'd look at the bricks, for example, and we'd try and pick a tone out of the brick that would complement the brick that you have, to, for example, in this instance, paint on the weatherboards, etc., and introduce it that way. So it's really important to take into consideration things that exist, but also take into consideration your surrounds, and take into consideration, you know, I always say, look to nature for inspiration. So have a look at what's happening around you. If you're coastal, you know, you can select colour choices that are reminiscent of the coast, and we've talked many times about it because there seems to be quite a big trend, people wanting to know about the tones that are going to be for Hamptons colours, etc., etc. If you're in a bush setting, you know, it could be that you want to introduce a beautiful green, or you're going to draw from something within nature. And I remember I did an earlier session about creating a colour scheme from a coach tree, and looking to the bark, etc., that was on the actual tree to create, and we used Coloursmith for that, to create some beautiful colours and to create something that would sit really well on the house within its environment. So I guess the next thing you need to work out is, what do you like? So I always say this to my clients: go and have a drive around, go and see what appeals. Like, for example, like us, if you're going to be painting every single touch point on the house, if you like, so if you're going to be painting the roof, etc., there is an opportunity to recolour. So go around and have a look and see whether it's a light roof that you're drawn to, a dark roof, etc., because it's a really good starting point to gain some inspiration. Certainly hop online, look, you know, like in your search engines, look for different style homes, etc., etc., colours. You can't go wrong. So tonight I have drawn up 3 very basic, it's one house. Look, it's a basic 3-bedroom style home that has the addition, as I was talking about before, a garage that has been infilled with some sky and linear weatherboard. But just to give you an idea and to give you a visual of what colour can do, and when it's placed in different areas, etc. And so that if you are embarking on a renovation and you're sort of wanting to understand where the colour's going to work, etc., how it's going to work, this is going to be for you. So let me just take myself off the screen, and I'll pop you onto my laptop, and I'll put myself up in the corner. You can see me up there. All right, so here we go. As I said, it's a very basic drawing, but it's going to allow, so here we go. So small space, we've rendered the exterior here, and we've actually used surf mist because I know that's a very popular colour. So the Coloursmith surf mist, which is on the roof, it's guttering trims, and it's on the boards. And look, I think it looks fantastic. If you're wanting to use different substrates and textures, etc., but you're painting it all that one colour, I think it works really well, and it allows for that cohesiveness, etc., etc. And then, you know, you can pop, as I have here, I've created a colour, and I will talk you through that after. I created a colour with Coloursmith for front door from the actual plant, which is a frangipani plant sitting out the front there. So I'll take you to the next drawing very quickly. Same house this time around, and look, I'll be honest, what you're seeing on the screen there compared to what I have on here, there seems to be a little bit of a variance in colour, but it's giving you an idea. So again, we've used the Coloursmith surf mist, but this time around I have brought in Taubmans birch forest. I think it is the most beautiful green. It's a stunning green, and it works within many environments, and you could certainly use that if you're in a bush setting. But you know what, you could also use it, because of the tone that it is, you could also successfully use that if you were coastal. We've teamed that with a timber deck and a timber front door, and I think that looks really well balanced. Now you'll see if I turn this around here, you'll see I've also incorporated the colour that is on the boards to here, just in the entranceway. But I've also thought, you know, you could actually, on the fascia board itself, continue the colour. So you've got the cohesiveness, and you've got that repetition, and you've got balance, which is what we're wanting to create when we talk about doing, it doesn't matter whether it's an interior or an exterior colour scheme. Whenever we talk about creating a space, you want to have balance, because you want to be able to stand back there, look at it, and it feels really good. Okay, so the next space is, I've got a question there, I'll come to that in a moment. Whoops, let me just quickly go here. The next space, again, I love this colour. I've continued with the Colourbond Surf Mist theme, as you can see here. But what I've used on the weatherboards here themselves is one of my favourite colours out of our beautiful portfolio of colours, which is the Taubmans Oyster Bar. I think this is a stunning colour. It's a very moody bluey grey, and if you follow me watching our sessions here, you'll see that I refer to this quite a lot. I think it is just the most beautiful tone. And now I've kept here, you'll see that the guttering and fascia, etc. is still kept in the surf mist, but what I have done here is to create a little bit of balance. I've introduced a bluey sort of toned front door, and I think that that still gives me balance. And if I were to have a front fence or a back fence, this is where you could also incorporate Oyster Bar to continue that theme going through. And the blue that I've used on the front door is called Taubmans Squadron, and I think it is stunning. So that just shows you, you can certainly, if you are embarking on a renovation and you are, extending, etc., filling in a garage, whatever it may be, you can use different substrates and you can still create a beautiful, well-balanced, cohesive colour scheme. So here, as I've said, you've got the Oyster Bar, beautiful on the boards with a blue front door. We'll just quickly go back to this next scheme here. Whoops, we'll pull that back in. We've got the Taubmans Birch Forest, but to show you how you can incorporate that colour as well, we've painted the fascia board in the colour as well, and also the little entrance way. So that's another colour placement. And then the lucky last is the first one that I showed you. We'll just pull that back in. Beautiful surf mist all the way around. Some other colours that would work particularly well on this as well is Taubmans Grey Matter, and you could also look at Taubmans South Pole. They're very reminiscent of surf mist, beautiful tones, and they work extremely well no matter where your environment is. And I think the key to using a white outside is to ensure that it does have enough depth, because when you put it out into the sun, what happens is it tends to bleach right out, and it can become quite glary, and that's certainly something that we want to avoid. Now, as you know, I always talk about Coloursmith, and I talk about the ability that we have, which is to create the most beautiful bespoke colours. And this, as far as I'm concerned, I think this is really a game changer when we talk about the colour industry and when we talk about designing. For anybody, this is a tool that is available for everybody to use. There are three main components to it. The first thing that you're going to do is you need to download the app, which is Coloursmith by Taubmans. And then you can use the photo function option, you can use the reader, or you can use the window. But for tonight, I'm actually going to use the photo function option, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create your own colour, as I did there for that front door. So I'm going to come back to me for a moment. I'll just get my iPad happening right now, and then I'll switch to the iPad and I'll come back on in the top screen. So, okay. Oops, maybe I won't. Yes, maybe I will now. Oh dear. All right, technology's not working, or maybe it's just me. Okay, so you can see up in the top corner there, you can see the Coloursmith app. So that's the one that you can download from Google Play or the App Store, depending on your smartphone device. So I'm just going to open it up now. Seems to be taking a moment. Beautiful. Now, if you're new to Coloursmith, it now has a function that's going to step you through. So I want to just quickly show you this. So down where you can see the question mark, I'm going to tap on that, and it says welcome. Excited to start creating colours? I am. This is a quick overview of the basic functions of the app. So let's get started. Okay, so you can match colour from life. Capture colour from any object, photo or surface by matching from photo or with a device. You can also explore your options. Start with an existing colour from our library and customise it to make it your own. So if you're not sure where to start, I suggest starting where it says create from match. It does have a fantastic colour library. It's pre-populated with the most beautiful colours. You can navigate your way through that, and then you can really gain some confidence with it and start creating. And the colours you create will be saved here where they can be customised or added to your cart. So you can see down the bottom there where it says C, that's where we'll go. But anyhow, to start tonight, I'm going to hit, oops, we've got that. To start tonight, I'm going to hit Create from Match, and I'm actually going to utilise the photo library. So let's just open that up. And you can see I've got some photos there, and I'm going to touch on the frangipani. Now, here we go. So watch the top of the screen, you'll see a bar, a solid bar of colour, and it's got select next to it. So watch that bar as I move the eye up and down onto the photo. So the bar changes colour. As you can see, we go along the stalk here. You know, I could go over to there, but we really want to find a beautiful tone within the leaf here. So I'm just going to go there, and I'm now going to hit select. Now I'm brought up to a screen that looks like this, and there's quite a few things that I can do from here. So I can actually lessen the intensity of the colour if I look at it and go, you know what, it might be a little bit too bold for what I'm wanting. So I can, as you can see here where it says intensity, similar or combinations, I can hit intensity, lessen the intensity or heighten the intensity. Similar is one that I'm going to show, so I'm going to hit similar. Now it brings up a library of greens that are very similar to that. You know, if I were to be in store explaining this, I'd say that some of them may have, you know, a little bit more white or perhaps a little bit more black, etc. in them. So you can keep going through, and you can literally go through, I dare say, hundreds of similar tones until you find exactly what you're wanting. So it's fantastic. You can sit there and you can create. So, you know, I can have a look here and go, yeah, it's getting there. I don't want it too bold, or, you know, I like that. And then I can go again. Yeah, oops, I really like that one. I actually do quite like that one. Or I quite like that one. So now that I've found something that I like, I can hit save my colour. Now I can hit manage. Now I'm brought to a screen like this. So this gives me the ability now to, I can create a name. So what am I going to call it? We'll call it, I'm just going to call it green leaf. I'd say frangipani, but in case I don't spell it right. So we'll go with green leaf, and now I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm brought back to a screen like this, which is fantastic. So down in the bottom here, for anybody, so for putting the colour into the front door as I did before, it's got the RGB. So when you're using a design program, etc., and you're wanting to put the colour in, this is where you get the information from. The LRV, the light reflective value of a colour. What else can I tell you? Combinations. I really want to show you combinations. This is something that's very, very clever. So you've now created a colour, and you're going, okay, if I'm going to use that on the front door, and you know, I might want to inject a little bit more colour into my space, especially given I'm using predominantly white everywhere. You know, you might have some pots that you're wanting to colour up, or you may have a panelled fence outside that you're wanting to, you know, play with colour, or you might have some furniture that you're wanting to introduce into your design, and you're thinking, you know, I'd really like a colour for that, but I'm not sure what's going to work. This is the function that gives you a colour palette that is designed to work with the colour that you have created. So it is fantastic. As you can see there are some beautiful, beautiful tones. Like I look at the greens, the greeny blue, you know, even the orange. I think the orange could look fantastic if you're wanting to do something that's a little bit daring outside, paint some exterior chairs. It would be lots of fun. But this is designed to give you, as I always talk about, confidence with colour. This is designed to give you the confidence to know that the colours that are on here are going to work with the colour that you have created. It's that simple. So now that we've created a colour and we've looked at combinations, I will take you back. Oops, maybe I'll go back to my colour. Back down to the C. Here's all the colours. So we'll go to green leaf. Now what I can do is I can actually write a colour story. So if I want to write something about, you know, what's inspired me to create this colour, this is where I can do that. So fantastic. And I'm going to write that wanting to bring my my surrounds into my scheme. There we go, simple as that. And the next thing you can do, so you can be at home, you can be doing what I've been doing, creating heaps of colours, and you can go, okay, how am I going to get it to get to experience the colour? So you can now order a test pot. So you can click order a test pot. Let's go to view cart. Oops. And there is my test pot there, ready for me to check out. They're $5.20. But if you order 4, it's free delivery, so way to go. Because I always think that it's a really good idea if you are, doesn't matter whether you're taking a colour chip off the colour wall, etc. It's really good to get yourself sample pots, brush out your colours onto a large piece of cardboard, and especially when we're talking about using colours outside, because as I referenced before, when we talk about using whites outside, they have the ability to dilute, and especially in areas where they're in full sun. So you really want to make sure that the colours that you are choosing are going to work for you and work well within your space. So that's the best tip that I can get. I always say that if you're going to go down the sample pot, as I always suggest, grab yourself a large piece of cardboard. You want something that is at least 1 metre by 1 metre. You will find that in most Bunnings stores, hardware stores, etc. The paint that is delivered to the stores comes with large cardboard layers or palette liners, and I know most stores have the palette liners, and if you can get yourself one of those, it's a great place to start. And move the colour outside different areas of the space, etc., so you can see how it's going to work. Now the last thing I'll quickly show you, so back to the C, if you're going to go into store and you're wondering, you know, I've created this colour, how do I get this from this into my sample pot? This is what happens. So when you create a colour, it populates, as you can see on the screen, a QR code. So that QR code contains all of the ingredients, if you like, to make that colour. That's the recipe for success for you out there. So that's what you'll need. So make sure when you create the colour, you take this with you. You can share the QR code across all of your social media platforms. You can airdrop it, you can email, you can text, etc. So it is fantastic. And then lastly, I'll come back onto the screen now. Lastly, this is what gets sent to you. This is what came to me the other day. My little sample pot. Well, quite a few actually. And so that's what will be delivered to your door. It is an amazing way to create colours. As I said, look, I know I talk about it a lot. I really do think it is brilliant. I love it. I could literally talk about it all night, and I could literally spend all night creating colours. But I can't. I'll run out of time. So now I'm going to start going through some questions that I have here. Now, I probably won't have the opportunity to answer all of your questions while I'm on screen now. But once we hop off screen, I will certainly do my best to get through them tonight for you. So let me just have a look. Just excuse me for a moment. Oops. A lot of technology happening here. Okay. Oh, thank you, Belinda. She says, I love all your colours you've mentioned tonight. I'm sitting here looking them up. Fantastic. Look, they are beautiful colours. And I must admit that the green, the birch forest, the screen, the image of the colour on here does not do it justice. When you actually see it brushed out, it is divine. And there is another colour as well called Highland Meadow that sits beautifully. It's another green. It's from the same family as birch forest. It's a little bit lighter, but it is beautiful. And I think, you know, when I talk about colours for front doors tonight, that's my colour of choice, and I can honestly hand on heart tell you, unless I create a colour with Coloursmith, which I probably will, I'll be using that colour on my front door in my renovation. I think it is beautiful. Okay. Okay. Hello, Kathy. Thank you very much for joining our session tonight. Hi, I'm still looking at colours for my exterior render. Can I please ask what colours Snowdrop, Pebble Bay Quarter and Alpine Snow are like? Are they more on the cream or white side? I don't want a yellow undertone, more a light cream white colour. Okay, Snowdrop probably is, it's a light sort of creamy sort of tone. Snowdrop's beautiful. Pebble Bay Quarter, I guess the way I describe Pebble Bay is kind of like a greyish. So it's that in-between tone of being brown or grey. And obviously when you dilute it down to a quarter, it still has that undertone. It's a beautiful colour. It's a very easy to work with colour. It certainly doesn't have a yellow undertone. And then you've mentioned here Alpine Snow. That would have to be one of my favourite colours. You would hear me referencing that quite a lot. I think Alpine Snow, when I look at colours and when I break them down, I love to look at the undertone. Now the best way and the best advice I can give anybody, if you're standing at a hardware store wall and you're deliberating, and I must admit when you stand there, some of them can all start to look the same. Do look, you'll see our colour wall's fantastic. It's highlighted saying, you know, you've got your warm neutrals and then you've got your cool, etc., etc. But grab yourself a brilliant white colour chip. And if you have a white colour chip, then you put your other colours on top of that you're looking at, you can actually see the undertone coming to life. And I think that's a really successful, easy way to look at colour, because if you put them all together, you really can't see sort of what base, etc. the colours have. So for your Alpine Snow, it tends to have I almost say a slight, it's a slight grey, sort of a slight greeny grey undertone. It is beautiful. It is a very versatile colour. I'd like to say very neutral. It works with so many other colours. And I must admit, you know, if I'm helping somebody in a store and they're talking about a white and they're unsure and, you know, they bring out a tile and it might be this, it might be that, I generally default to the Alpine Snow or Aspen Snow. And I find that either one of those generally work really, really well. So have a look at those. I hope I've helped answer your question. If not, please, Kathy, please pop something else back into the feed and I can certainly elaborate for you. Hi Gail, thank you very much for joining our session. Sorry, I was just reading. I'll read your question out loud. I'm wanting to paint the exterior of my home. It's a 2-storey townhouse style, rendered at the bottom, vertical panelling at the top, black aluminium windows. I would like a whole new look, so change the garage door and front door. I face north, so not a light colour for the panel section. Thank you. So I just need to go through this again. 2-storey, rendered at the bottom, vertical panelling at the top, black aluminium windows. Fantastic. Thank you, Gail. Now the question I'll ask you before we go into colours, and if you can please pop it back into the feed for me. What colour is your roof and is it visible? And are you prepared, because you're saying that you want a whole new look, so you're going to change the garage door, front door, and you've got vertical panelling at the top. So are we painting the render and the vertical panelling? So if you can tell me we're painting the render, the vertical panelling, and the colour of your roof, that would be fantastic. Now the question I will ask you also is, have you had a look around and found anything that appeals? So are you looking for, you know, sort of grey tones? Are you drawn to grey? Are you drawn to more beige tones? Are you looking more towards green tones? And where is the house situated? So are you coastal? Are you in a bush setting? So if you want to come back to me, Gail, with a little bit more information, I can certainly elaborate for you and help create a beautiful colour scheme. Oh, thank you, Karen, for joining us. This is inspiring me to want to buy a renovator's delight. Awesome. That's lovely. We want to hear that. Thank you. Okay, what else? Rebecca, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Is trendy a very dark blue or considered a grey? Thank you. Okay, trendy to me is almost black. Now I'm going to see whether I can find it here for you just to give you a visual. It is a beautiful colour. So it doesn't tend to throw blue. And it's probably just a little bit light. I know there's different tones of black. I know there's some blacks that have, you know, green, and some of them have a purple undertone, etc. But let me just see if I can find this for you very quickly. Let's hope I've got it here now that I'm talking. Beautiful, 27. Let's have a look. Oops, my fan deck's looking very well loved here. Okay, so it does follow suit going down And this looks really bad, but I'm going to pop it up on the screen anyway, and you're just going to have to excuse my very well loved fan deck. You can see that I get a lot of use out of this. It is the bottom tone, the bottom colour here. So if you dilute it down, it does dilute down into some beautiful soft greys. Greys that I'm just looking to see the undertone. They're not, yeah, it's not really a blue grey, because here we go here. This is just to give you an idea. There's more of a blue, it looks quite blue on the screen, but there's more of a blue sort of grey. So if you look down the bottom, I don't know whether that can help you there at all. So it is, for me, it's quite a solid sort of true black, if you would like to say. So, you know, like, because as I was saying a moment ago, there are blacks that some blacks tend to have more of a brown undertone or a blue undertone or a green or even a purple undertone, but this is more of what you would sort of call a true black. Grab yourself a sample pot, brush out a large piece of cardboard, give that cardboard 3 coats of the colour, and then move it around and pop it outside and see how it looks for you. But it's probably one of my picks when it comes to talking about or looking at your really dark greys or your blacks. I tend to default to trendy. I think it's beautiful. Okay, I think that I do have a lot of questions, which I will come back to, so I do apologise if I haven't answered your question on screen. But I would like to thank you all very much for joining our session tonight. It's been fantastic to be back. We will be back same time next week again. Next week's session is all about frequently asked questions. So if you do have any questions, etc., please do pop them in the feed. As I said before, I'll be online. I'm still online for another half an hour or so to answer all your questions. But until next week, stay safe everybody, and happy painting. Thanks very much. Bye.